see you guys in the dark.
This happened just only 2 days ago, and I'm saying this now because I forgot about him, but he has messaged me. Now that that is out of the way, this story isn't about a red room or any of that fake shit. Trust me, I've been on the deep web for about 3 years. Not once have I seen one of these things. I mean, I have seen videos of people getting killed, but not live feeds or anything. But the site I so happened to come across, the link was a bunch of random letters. And if you use Tor or something along those lines, you know what I mean. This link was sent to me via email, and the email read this: "Click this if you dare, smiley face." Now, I was thinking probably exactly what you were thinking right now. You either heard or read that. Another damn troll trying to scare people. So I just clicked the link. Nothing like I haven't seen before. Drugs, blood, cheesy sound effects. But I was sitting there laughing it off because I was thinking I guessed right. But then I clicked on an image of weed or something like that. I was sent to another page, and out of this page I was in. Keep in mind I have a VPN. And also an IP scrambler, just for safety reasons. But when this sent me to this page, out of the 3 years that I have been on the deep web, I have never had a site switch to a different site on me. So I was thinking that I misclicked. But then it made my screen full screen black page. But when I clicked on my screen, it popped up an error message saying, "We are sorry, but we are afraid to tell you that you can't leave this page. We are sending you to an admin right now. Please wait." So out of pure curiosity, I stayed and let it load. Then a video popped up, or I should say, a webcam. So I was thinking that I was going to get to talk to someone about the site. That was clearly fake at least. And then a person with a normal face, top hat, black trench coat, and also black gloves appeared. Keep in mind that since stuff like this has happened before, I wear stuff that doesn't allow you to even see my skin color. Black gloves that go all the way up to my elbows. Yes, I know those are mostly meant for females, but I custom made mine so they have black widows crawling down them, so it looks pretty badass. Plain white hoodie, hockey mask, with H20 deliriously spray painted on it. He's my favorite YouTuber. And also I keep the hoodie up, so when my webcam appeared, I wasn't that scared that there was no way he could see what I looked like. So just to piss him off, I got closer to the camera and said, "Can you see my face now?" That seemed to anger him. He said, "Don't test me. You came to my site without an invite." After that, I went back into my chair and then said, "Okay, first of all, I got a link that sent me by email. And also, your site is clearly fucking fake. I mean, do you think that you were going to be fooling someone?" That was when he said, "I used the fake web page for people to click a link via clicking a picture. Then it sends them here. And it seems that you did that." I said, "I did that because I wanted to see how horribly overpriced a bag of fake-ass weed was going to be. And it seems that you are the dealer. Can I have some weed, please?" Just to fuck with him, I said that last part. And then he got really mad. And kind of did that noise that 10-year-olds make when they get pissed off. And then he said, or you could call it a yell that he did. He said, "Do not test me." I knew this prick wasn't going to do anything. So I tested him. Again, I said, "I ain't your fucking teacher, but if you want a math quiz, I'll be glad to give you one." Then he said, "That's it. I'm getting your address, and we're going to meet." I said, "Oh no, please don't. I don't want to meet you. You're too scary." Then I turned my IP scrambler and my VPN off so that he could get the real IP because I have a little surprise for him. Then he typed in my IP in the chat box that appeared. And I said, "Oh, good job. You found it. It seems you are getting the hang of this stuff. How would you like it if I gave you your IP?" He said, "Do it. More than likely you can't." So I used a couple of programs, and maybe about 3 minutes later, both of us are doing our things. And when I said, "I got it," also, I got some other things too. So I typed in the chat box his name, address, phone number, and also the same things that his sister and his mother's address and phone number. I must have scared the living shit out of him. Oh God, I wish you saw his face. I was laughing so hard. And when I was done, he said, "I'm coming to meet you. You better prepare to die." I had some illegal weapons that I had bought off the deep web. Mini Uzis, a shotgun with a drum mag, and also a very deadly military-grade sniper rifle. And then I said, "Oh, please come over. I really want to meet you." And then I moved to the left because the guns were sitting right behind me, and in the dark so that you couldn't see them from the angle my webcam was sitting. The light from my PC screen sent a bright light beaming at the wall where my guns were sitting up against. And keep in mind, I live in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, so the nearest house is about 4 miles south or north of me. So I could shoot the guns and no one could hear them. I say this because what he said next. Those things are fake. And I said in a childish way, "Oh, no they're not." Then he said, like most people would say, "Prove it." So I took the sniper, and then took the tripod, and then hooked the sniper up to it. Put it on there. I used this thing so many times that I know the different metal and plastic make, especially when they barely touch, let alone lock onto each other. It seemed he didn't know that sound, so normally by that point, the either 5 times this has happened to me, during this year alone, might I add, it normally scares the other people away, because that shows them that the gun is real. But him, he didn't. He needed it to shoot to show him that it was real. So I put the sniper in my window, and then shot a tree about half a mile away. And that was an easy hit for this sniper, because this thing is such a beast when it comes to shooting. Then he said, "I ain't afraid of the sniper." The one I was afraid of was that shotgun. So I took the shotgun, and shot that one too. And then he jumped and said, "Stop with the sound effects." I said, "Okay, first of all, this isn't possible yet. And yet, I want to meet your sister, and your mother. What weapon wants to meet them too?" Then he screamed, "Please don't. Leave them out of this. I will leave, and we won't have to meet. I'm sorry for trying to scare you." Just like that, he shut down the site, and then never bothered me again until that message. The message reads, "Thank you for not attacking my family. I'm sorry for what I did. I will let you know that the site is now shut down. I only shot those weapons to scare him. I wasn't actually going to do shit. I'm not a murderer. I'm just a hacker." I'm 26 years old. Blonde hair, blue eyes, about 5'6", so pretty typical really. This seems really pointless now, but I promise it is important information though. It will mean a lot later. It's hard to decide where to start, so I'll just run you through from the beginning. 2 weeks ago, I was out for a run before work, and before the road got hectic with the heavy morning traffic. There's a fog. I remember this distinctly, because it was so thick that it actually made it hard to see about 10 feet in front of me. Before I knew it, a dark red SUV started to become visible through the heavy clouds. I don't know what happened here really, as it was all so fast. 1 minute I was running my normal route. The next I was grabbed and thrown into the SUV. I guess they used chloroform or something like it to knock me out, because when I came to, I was in a solid white room with absolutely nothing in it but me. I don't know what was worse, realizing that I had been kidnapped, or the maddening essence of the dead and empty room that I was being kept in. For the 2 days that I saw and heard no one, minus the terrified screams, pleas, and downright pitiful begging that escaped my mouth. Finally they came, but it was no blessing. I was taken to another white room with actual stuff in it, stripped down to nothing and washed like a dog, cold water and all. There were 3 men and 1 woman in the room. The woman just sat back and observed, every now and again writing something down. The men heckled me, tossed me around between them. They touched me, but blessedly the woman spoke up before it went any further. She had a very thick German accent. I remember she said for them to wait until it was my turn, that they didn't want to spoil anything. I was taken to yet another solid white room, but this one wasn't empty. There was a chair in the center, screwed into the floor, an empty box, about the size of a coffee pot box, and a metal swivel table covered with white cloth. Here I plopped into the chair, my ankles and wrists tightly bound with heavy metal latches. I was terrified. I asked them what they were going to do with me. No one spoke a word as they went about their tasks. I felt like an object to them, not a human, just like them. Everyone left, and once again, I was alone. A whirring noise brought me out of the panic attack I was beginning to have. I watched in horror as an extra-large television descended from above me and settled in against the wall directly in front of me. A man dressed like an old butcher from the 50s, and a woman dressed like an old-fashioned nurse came in and uncovered the metal table, revealing a plethora of small tools, a scalpel, several other types of med-surg equipment, dental tools, and other things I didn't really recognize. I have never been so terrified in my entire life. My hell truly began when the screen lit up, and a small group of people came up in their own chat bubbles. The butcher asked the nurse if everything was in order. She nodded and said in a German accent, "Yes, doctor." "Everyone has paid." He smiled and thanked the group of 6 on the screen. My body trembled beyond my control. "Very well, let's begin," the butcher commented. The nurse walked over to the screen and turned up the volume. "What is your first request?" she asked the panel. The first person in line on the screen said, "Bite her nipple, hard, then peel it off nice and slow." This is where I began screaming. They began attempting to put a ball gag in my mouth, but the man on the screen stated, "Let her scream." The nurse walked behind me, grabbed my breast hard, and sticking them out as far as she could. The butcher then leaned down and bit the right one. White-hot pain seared through my body. Just as the man wanted, I screamed. The nurse, which I heard the butcher call Olga, brought a long, thin pair of strangely shaped tongs and a scalpel. The butcher took the scalpel, leaving the nurse with the tongs. She grabbed my nipples and pulled it as far as she could. So far, I thought she might rip it off. Then the butcher stepped forward and began to slice through the tender skin of my breast. I screamed, but my captors didn't even react. I tried struggling, but it only made things worse. In a matter of just a few minutes, as the butcher took his sweet time, I was left with no nipple on my right breast. I could feel warm blood leaking down my stomach and pooling underneath me. The nurse and the butcher looked expectantly at the screen, awaiting for their next order. I stole a glance at the man currently commanding my torture. He was just a normal guy. They all were. Out of 6 men, only one looked slightly uncomfortable. They wore suits and ties, and looked like professionals, each appearing to have just stepped out of the office. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I'm not sure what I expected, but it wasn't suits and ties. My heart sank. If these guys were capable of this, then anyone was. Struggling against my restraints, determined not to suffer any longer, I cried out and cursed the men behind that damned television screen. I cursed the butcher and the nurse. I continued my charade until I heard one of the men say, "Undo her and beat her against the wall." I looked back up in shock. Was there no end to their cruelty? Quickly, the nurse moved the cart of horror toys out of the room and returned to my side. Together they moved my shackles, and I was free. I bolted for the door, but was yanked backward by my hair again. I screamed in pain, which seemed to please everyone but myself. Before I could even fall, the butcher swung me around, still holding me by my hair, slammed me up against the wall opposite the door. I hit it pretty hard enough to knock the wind out of my lungs. Again, before I was able to think of what to do, I was slammed into yet another wall, then another, and another until the man with the request said it was enough for him. The butcher grabbed me by my arm and forced me in front of the screen. I have never felt so exposed, so vulnerable, so small in all of my life. I prayed that they were done. The nurse stepped forward then and said, "You have 7 more minutes of paid time. What is your final wish for our little beauty here?" She gestured on to me. There was silence for a moment, as the men seemed to be deciding what they wanted to do for the finale. But the request was nothing I had braced for. Rape her. I was floored. I begged and pleaded that they change their minds. To the butcher, to please not. To the nurse, as a woman, to please stop this. But my words fell on deaf ears. And the butcher seemed determined to oblige, as I heard the sound of his leather apron hit the floor and a belt come undone. He still held me by my arm. I struggled with all my might to get away, but I was jarred when the hulk of a man turned and backhanded me right across my face. I nearly fell, and he used this to his advantage, throwing me the rest of the way to the ground, positioning me so that the men could see everything from the sideways view. "Make it rough," one of the men called. The butcher crawled over top of me and smiled. "With pleasure," he stated, wrapping one large, beefy hand around my throat and pushing down. By the time he was finished with me, My screams had diminished to pathetic-sounding sniffles and begging. I just wanted this torture over with. I wanted them to kill me, and this was the moment that he would. Sure, that would be the man's last request. I was shocked to hear them say to keep me alive for another time, and that they would likely be back. The man lifted me off of the ground, licked my ear, and whispered, "Looks like it's your lucky night." Sweetheart? I was far too exhausted from the pain and shame to fight back. I just let them take me, praying that they would end the torture. Unfortunately, I immediately was shoved back into my little white room and left there until they decided that if I put this information on the normal internet, it would bring in more customers. Please stop watching these videos. Stop visiting the deep web. This isn't a joke. It's people's lives, and they shouldn't be destroyed, tortured, or killed for the amusement of others. I already know that I won't leave this place alive, or intact, but maybe I can save someone else from this fate. Maybe even you. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos, and become a stalker of the night. And I'll see you next time.